say knowledge is power, but it's not the knowledge alone, but it's the application. Rats, la-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, quite contrary, la-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. The stones that the builder refused, return home to learn how to produce. Remove ya, steer far from the fools. Honors are rebels and men now follow rules. I don't want a Grammy or an Oscar, Bentley, private plane or a helicopter. Just need family and my culture, a herb doctor and some economic structure. All for one for all, call it Ubuntu, peaceful, but I study war like Sun Tzu. Coming from a Texas perspective, sign symbols on my mind introspective. Pick my friendships like my fruit, selective, check the history so our future's protected. Know that self and you will be respected. Tree without roots like a phone disconnected. For an unpaid bill, pure journalism, scholarship and skill, and still got a real and authentic feel. C101 blood, don't know the deal. La-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, quite contrary. La-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. La-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, no, quite contrary. La-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. Yo, Rago, Zulu, Job Messenger, God MC. From one side of the pond to the other, it's the global family, it's the universal village. One blood, one blood. Yo.
Welcome to another episode of Encapsulation 101. Your carriers.
Put your hand up in a fist and say, "Free Leonard Peltier." Free Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard Peltier.
If cops are pigs, man, the FBI abhors. The tribal chairman high goons to incite the wars. At Pine Ridge in 7-3, their wickedness wounded me. Imagine what they directed toward aim, it wounded me. Feds Bureau of Intimidation lost 2 agents, but stunts were sniped flagrant with no investigation. The world's watching, I tell them to take caution. Distortion of facts got the POW exhausted. Broken hearted from cowards and traitors, the power of hate. Even Judge Haney now admits the mistake. Human rights organizations trying to right this wrong. For Peltier, the least I could do is write this song. It's been over 30 years of tears of frustration since the brother stood up with no fear for the nation. When truth turns to light, darkness to revelations. Watch a hero's homecoming, we'll cheer in celebration.
The FBI still holds thousands of pages of documents in this case, claiming in many instances that disclosure would compromise the national security. In the absence of such disclosure, no further efforts in a new trial are possible. And Leonard Peltier is not alone in his imprisonment for his political activities. We've heard about some of the other people today.
I got a free Peltier tat on my left arm for every time the left arm. People insensitive, puddle the blood, that's hard. On these unfree followers that have to swallow words, don't see the relationship to swallow them birds fly free. Inside of me, your book, prison writing really affected me, protected me from my own mental prison. Sentimental journey of a beautiful soul arisen. I see you in visions much longer than long division. I cry for you and upon the wrong decisions. One day you will walk through these walls in the physical. Know the love of million visit you, but we need you to visit too. When you do, the sky will still be blue. We'll still be going through what we're still going through. I love you, and I wanted to say aloud that I pray that you get out today or any day now.
FBI operations were directed towards the destruction of the Indians, grassroots support to the urban and reservation communities, containing the survivors of America's wars against its indigenous population in the last 400 or more years. Particular emphasis was directed by the FBI towards the descendants of the Lakota, who stopped the campaign of slaughter by General Armstrong Custer and the 7th Cavalry, who now reside on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation and some of the surrounding reservations. FBI operations against AIM began with surveillance of peaceful demonstrations for people calling for the enforcement of treaty rights, for human rights, for equal opportunities for jobs and housing and medical care, and for justice in America's courts.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Conscientization 101 podcast. I'm your host for this 61st episode of Conscientization 101, senior editor James Stone. And let me just tell you, I don't think I'm ever going to get over that new dope intro we got with our brother Rago Zulu Rebel. Appreciate that, Rago. But if you heard, we kind of mixed it up. We did the robot voice, and then we played a song as opposed to coming in directly off of the intro with the robot voice. We played a song called Right This Wrong by Raka of Dilated Peoples and Tumex from 2010's Free Leonard Peltier, hip-hop's contribution to the Freedom Campaign. Now, we played that because, oh my Lord, we are celebrating now. Leonard Peltier is coming home. Yeah, that's right, he's coming home. Yes, more applause. Yes! Now, if you go to our site, go to the 411 category, you'll see it up there. We did a post, and we reposted the NDN Collective's press release about Leonard Peltier coming home. So if you want to read that full press release, just go to our site, and we have reposted that on our site in the 411 category, because that's definitely some 411 you need to know. That's some info for you to know. Don't you know? Because Leonard gotta go up out of jail. Because that shit's hell.
Yeah.
Now, I went off script. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little excited, yes. Woo, he's coming home. So yeah, just go to the site, check that out. And again, we reposted from the NDN Collective, and we will also link to their website as well. Now, with all that said, if you haven't figured out, this episode, this 61st episode, is dedicated to the freedom of Leonard Peltier. Yes! All right, so let's transition off into today's show, shall we? Today, we conclude our three-part series with Dr. Julian Kunnie called Is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux, a dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie. Again, this dialogue took place on November 5th, 2022, and lasted for over 3 hours. Can you believe we're talking over 3 hours? Y'all know I can talk for over 3 hours, right? And if you remember, our original impetus for this dialogue was to have Dr. Kunnie back on the show in 2020 to revisit his book, Is Apartheid Really Dead? Pan-Africanist Working Class Critical Perspectives, for its 20th anniversary of publication. However, the pandemic, technical difficulties, and scheduling issues prevented us from having this dialogue until November 5th, 2022. And while we did revisit aspects of Is Apartheid Really Dead, in regards to its initial analysis of post-apartheid Azania, South Africa, and its relevance today, we also incorporated his other book, The Cost of Globalization, Dangers to the Earth and Its People, and his forthcoming book, The Earth, Mother, and the Assault of Capitalism, Living Sustainably with All Life, which is scheduled for release April 23rd, 2025, by the way, as well as we discussed a myriad of other topics. And again, if you want to revisit our dialogues about Is Apartheid Really Dead? Pan-Africanist, Working Class Critical Perspectives, and The Cost of Globalization, Dangers to the Earth and Its People, check out our episodes 9 and 10 and episodes 23 through 25, respectively. Yeah. So today we feature excerpts from the conclusion of our three-part series with Dr. Kunnie, which came in at over an hour.
And like always, we'll let you know how to get the unabridged version at the end of the show. So, in part 3 of our series with Dr. Kunnie, we discuss the following. The general lack of class consciousness within struggle. An example of how neoliberal, neocolonial policies have had dire consequences for the people of Azania, South Africa. Encapsulation of social movements, and much, much more. Now, before we start the conclusion of Is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux, a dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie, I want to play another track. I want to use a track to get us into the show, to just segue us into the show. Similar to the track that you heard, Right This Wrong. That came out in 2010. Yeah, that's right. 2010. I know that sounds like a long time for a lot of y'all. For me, that feels like yesterday. This track that I'm about to play came out in 2010 as well. This track epitomizes the malaise that you might feel now because of the current state of the world. And really, if we're being serious, it's not just the current state of the world. It's ever since we've been in this thing, so-called thing called modernity, Western hegemony. Or simply put, this is what it feels like when the whole world venerates empires. And their only solution is conquer, 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 kill, 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 blow shit up, blow shit up, blow shit up. It doesn't really matter what order it goes in now. It just seems like it's all over helter-skelter. Blow it up, kill it, and then I'll conquer it. That shit's weird. I don't know what's going on. But what I'm saying is, listening audience, if you're having melancholic feelings right now, or you've been having them for a couple of decades now, they're not unique to just you. It's not just you. You're not maladapted because you're not living and feel like your best self because you don't want to do self-care. Okay? In fact, these feelings are normal if you're in touch with your humanity, because the rulers of this world have literally given us all an invitation sent via first class mail that reads, "Welcome to dystopia." And with that, let's start the show.
It's bigger than your local colloquiums. In a world that is dystopian, kids aren't born in fallopians. They're cloning tubes and inserted growth in them. Dust is choking them. But this ain't the type of pollution we placed in the ocean. It's apathy's stench we can't quench. Don't matter who inhabits the bench, or wig or gown, hammer or crown, oval or down, and they're all just clowning. Jokes on us, we're not even frowning, much less pissed off. We're switched off, smiling villainy. The wickedest tyranny is the one that says fuck you so nice. You say thanks and shake hands. Say he's your man, forget all your plans. Reach your hand out, you see you're in bondage to ideas of beauty is blondness and other such nonsense. What our response is, conform and amputate conscience. Conform, obey, transform, sleep easy. 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 That good old human conditioning, ever since days of the pyramids, make us invalid, which means invalid. Wrestle with things we can't manage, like peace and equality. Which minority is the authority? Whoever has property, it's all idolatry. Even if you have no image of God, do you follow me? Do we not all worship money? When you think about it, it's quite funny. Can't eat money, can't breathe money, can't inject and cure disease money. But we pray at its altar with guns and tanks and offer the money God a million sacrificial lambs. Who's the priest in charge of sacrificial plans? Let us pray, all hold hands. War is peace. Ignorance, strength, freedom is slavery. War is peace, ignorance, strength, freedom is slavery. War is peace, ignorance, strength, freedom is slavery. Not only do we believe that creed, we hold it deep and praise it as bravery. Yeah, along with the vision division and difference, so we can maintain the belligerence to their pain. Feel no shame, it's all just stages in a video game that our kids play. Kill, 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 death is such a thrill. Swallow, junk, still feel ill. Take blue, pill. Conform, obey, transform, sleep easy. 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 Sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind. I do believe our nature's kind, just confused them, we're so far gone. Got no clue how to right these wrongs. We bury our head in the sand or the desk, anywhere but inside of our flesh. If I looked at myself, I would see I am the enemy. I am not honest or kind or caring or sharing or any of the many things that I pretend to be. I'm selfish and arrogant and obedient. Follow truth only when it's convenient. Accept laws that I know that deceive me, so I can sleep in my bed easy. Don't blame governments, they are just us. If they are corrupt, then we are corrupt. Look back through history. What makes you think that we would act differently if we were in power? We would devour whoever the underclass were like cowards. The question is this inevitable? Is there good or evil? Is it terrible or just survival? Some say was built from days when we were tribal. I don't buy that, I think you will find that's an excuse if we just go by facts. Everything we really need to survive actually make us feel good inside. Sex feels good, food feels good. Damn, even taking a poo feels good. So if war and hate are our natural courses, why do we need conditioning for it? I ain't gonna forfeit my privileges, I'll get back in line now and follow my orders.
Let me ask you this, because what you're breaking down, I was literally looking up at the ceiling, working some stuff out, and this is what I think. And correct me. Let me now work with me. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking now. I know a lot of you Marxists, if y'all listen to this, might like this, but I always define class within the colony, within the colonized, is different. It's trying to be like the alien foreign aggressor. It's not just a matter of economics, because I know people who are poor and take a class position, even though their materiality doesn't even reflect that. So what I'm saying is this. Work with me, Dr. Julian, on this one. What I'm thinking is we're having a culture war now all over for African people. And what the culture war is doing, having us embrace European culture, but they're letting us have the most superficial, if not falsified, versions of our ethnic cultures, i.e., like you just said, the Khoi, i.e., African American, i.e., African Latino, whatever. They play the djembe, and that's all they do, right? They didn't lead no rebellions or nothing. They just played the djembe. They're letting us have that superficiality of that culture, right? But under the guise of having us be tributaries and integrate into the one universal culture, which is misnomered European culture. But what we're also seeing is, while we can say we're black, but at the same time, what I'm also seeing manifest in this reactionary nationalism, ethno-nationalism and nationalism, and pan-African black reactionary nationalism is a class connotation. Do you see what I'm saying? Say black people are doing good because of this the black Negro you said who's running the AFRICOM, or this Negro singing this. So I'm seeing right now that class has come to the forefront, but not class in the traditional Marxist sense. Because you can't be no African National Congress when you got them white folks not sitting in no tin hut. They should be in zinc roof huts.
They shouldn't be there at all.
I actually will give them to the sharks on the Cape.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there.
You want to call it a great white shark, get your great white ass off in the Cape. So am I correct in this class, not Marxist class, thing has come to the forefront where we Africans who are saying, no, because the majority of us shouldn't be homeless. Shut up. We got a black mayor and black ANC Negro up there because they're protecting their class. I'm seeing class not being eviscerated, not even talked about anymore. And
but it seemed like a constituent element of the neoliberal dream you were talking about.
Exactly.
All the neoliberalism is being, you can see it just hearing what Julian's talking about. This is a worldwide thing where neoliberalism promotes the first black and promotes all these people of color who can be, like I was saying about black business, they can be the face of the black business But then on the back end, if you look at their structure, then all the white people really own it.
Yeah, it's like when the French told French West Africa, you can get with the Loy cadre system, and what's Sekou Touré said, no, I ain't going with that. We going for independence. But what's the Negro Sang Hor said, we gonna go with the French. We got to be down with the French with the Loy cadre system. It's this class thing that I see keep coming up that we don't want to look at, because to look at class, we're going to get to ultimately a real nationalism. Because you have to, like you just said, Sister Zari, control. I think we were recording, or we weren't recording. Dr. Kunnie, you said own. Africans got to own it. And we got to own.
Not one or two of the sellouts.
We talking collectively because.
Right.
Am I seeing the class thing? Am I right, Dr. Kunnie? Go ahead.
You're absolutely right, Brother James and Sister Zari, because you mentioned neoliberalism, which is just another neocolonialism. It's all the same. I mean, the terminology, in English doesn't matter. They got a lot of hyphens and apostrophes, what have you. But it's essentially a slave system.
Yeah.
It's a genocidal colonial system. It's an occupation system. It's an extraction system. It's a looting system. It's a predatory system. It's a vampiric system. And I noticed that they're having vampire drones attack Russia now. I think Ukraine or some other country. They call it, vampire drones.
Vampire
and
drones.
so,
that's interesting.
Yeah, vampire drones. And so the whole notion of the drone itself,
exactly,
which is heavily involved. But you just look at how these things are happening, yes, with the class dynamic. So when you look at, for instance, most of these groups, the so-called colored groups, or however they want to talk it, less than full-blooded indigenous groups, are generally catching hell, generally. They live in townships, they live overcrowded and so on, most of them. Then you got the elites among all these groups, living in white areas, Constantia in Cape Town, right? I think Tutu had one there, the late Archbishop. He had a house there and so on. And all these, privileged people. So, if you're black or you're so-called colored or whatever, Malay or whatever you are, and you get a business and you're allowed to make money and so on. So you go buy a house up there, and you say, and you may be part of the black consciousness struggle. You may have been in prison. You may have been tortured. And you say, well, I paid my dues. So I'm moving away from that. I'm tired of the negativity. So I want to be positive. I'm going to think positive. I'm joining the system. I'll be a businessman. And, I'll make money. After all, money's not bad. It's just how, you use it, right? So you see, the mentality has been entrenched. So, and the colonizers, the European colonizers who essentially control, much of even the cash resources and gold and so on, held in the Bank of England, and then in US corporations and so on. So, the Europeans are firmly in control. And I remember a conference I went to in 2006. I did a paper out there on Black worker rights. It was some type of big international sociology conference. They were supposed to publish their paper. I don't know what happened, and I remember there was a brother from Ethiopia who was working at the University of South Africa. He's a big scholar, and he was saying to us, he said, if you think that the Europeans are going to give up this country for what's here, you're crazy. This is their country. This is their land. They're not going to give it up, regardless of who is on the stage, who is supposedly in parliament or the blackface corporations and so on. He said, all of these are fronts. They are fronts. And that's what we have been saying. They are fronts. All of these structures are fronts. So concretely, you look at examples, like the big thing was this biggest blackout, electricity blackout in South Africa, right? And the Mail and Guardian, and all of the newspapers are controlled by the white corporations anyway, all of them, every single one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, which is an irony. You think, well, South Africa, supposedly the wealthiest economy or second wealthiest or whatever in Africa, stock exchange and all the modern industrial infrastructure and so on. At least there should be some ownership. All the that's why you read black journalists, it's so trashy.
Yeah.
That's why my brother.
It's pretty bad over there. Yeah, it is, because I saw the news. I saw the news over there. It personally, it made me. It was like Negroes, Fox News meet the Negroes, but it was also
absolutely.
It was weird because I'm looking at this right. Them it make me sick. That was my. I said they talk like the white folks, and how you gonna have stuff? They was like, oh, you should have. The ones that are the news anchor. I was like, oh, are they like sock puppets? It was horrible, and that's what passed for like mainstream.
Yeah.
It was like you wouldn't think it was a black majority country, but it's not, because in spirit they're not.
Yeah, in spirit they're not, and it's still a southern colonial society.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's still a neo-colony.
Yeah.
And so when you look at how these people operate, and that's why, our brother Siavuya Mzansi, who is the editor of the Cape Times, the African editor, loves my articles. He said, anytime you want to send things, I'll publish it. I said, this is radical stuff. I don't want you to jeopardize your position. He said, we need this. We need this because everybody else is giving us a system, And so it is so important for us now. That's why I'm saying the work that you do at Conscientization 101, you may think it's marginal. It is not marginal. These little things we do contribute to that global earth circle. It's the same thing with the Indians in this country, the indigenous people. You got the same problem. When I carry a briefcase, like the division in the Seminole, the traditional Seminole nation and the Seminole tribe. And the Seminole tribe says, hey, we can go to Wall Street, okay? We are modern Indians, okay? We're not just living in teepees anymore. Wigwams. So you got this whole, and all of these guys are paid by the system. All of them are paid by the system. I mean, there was a little report, I think, in one of the Intercept or something like that the British government was basically bribing, governments in Zambia and different parts of Africa to allow them to loot mining resources. They bribed all these people. I mean, much of this, but it's been going on. Yeah. It's not a revelation. This is how they operate. Yeah. They've always done that. So here with this, like the blackout, that was the big thing. I couldn't get a hold of people because they had blackouts, rolling blackouts. They would tell you like 2 hours before everything would be off, different times of the day and night and so on. It was the worst they've ever experienced. And then you look at how now there was this supposed revelation in the Mail and Guardian, which is also white controlled. The Kusile and Medupi power stations, right, were funded. They had a contract. What happened with the African National Congress was, compared to the apartheid system, they privatized everything. Mm-hmm. You see, the water, the electricity, the utilities, and so on. All of it was privatized. Yep. During the days of apartheid, the Boer state, the European colonial state, had nationalized everything.
Yeah.
See? And this is where you see colonialism versus neocolonialism, interesting nuances there. Mm-hmm. So the European minority said, we will always take care of our people. Mm-hmm. We will subsidize education, electricity, housing. We'll prioritize, of course, all for the European minority. These Africans, so-called Africans, come in. Well, who are they enriching? Here's a classic example. So they privatized the power. right? They privatized the power stations, Kusile and Madupi, which are the biggest power stations, and came to find out the ANC worked on a contract with Hitachi, 20 billion rand contract. Actually, it says dollars. Maybe I got to find out whether it's dollars or rand, whatever it is. It was in the billions, right? Even if it was 20 billion rand, 19 billion rand, that's almost $1.5 billion. Gave them the contract in 2007 to build this and to provide all the latest technology. The whole thing was a setup. Came to find out Hitachi, this global corporation, was connected to Chancellor House Holdings, an ANC investment arm. None of the monies went to build the facilities that they got.
Man,
So two people in the ANC got all the money.
Neo-colonialism is a cold.
And Chancellor House connected to Hitachi made 500% in profits.
Whoa.
From that Hitachi contract. And the country was blacked out. I mean, people didn't have electricity. They didn't have water. There's still places in Azania where people don't have water in the Eastern Cape.
And Julian,
then you gotta look at Hitachi too. You
gotta look at Hitachi. Yeah, you can't. But because it all works hand in glove. This is what they'll have. This is what a talking head in South Africa and Negro over here would say. Well, Julian, who would you rather have that dude done? Would you rather have the white people do it or the black people? At least the black person got rich. I done heard that before. Well, when the white people get it,
fraud.
Exactly, that's the point. But the point is, we're supposed to be happy at black fraud.
I know.
I don't even know what to say.
We suffering, brother. We suffering, sister. But at least it's our people doing it to us.
Exactly. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Elon Musk have it? Who would you rather have? Huh? That's exactly what you hear. It's like, oh my, you see, nigga, you the one with no power. You're the one with no power.
Right, you just wanted to see the right face do it.
You are woke, and I'm asleep on that.
I gotta remember that line. You really made me crack up on that one, brother. That is so deeply hilarious because I mean, everybody here, Black Lives Matter. They got Black Lives in Australia. They got Black Lives in Europe. They got Black Lives in France, in South America. In Azania, they have Black Lives Matter.
Well, and that's the other problem I had. That's the problem I had with Black Lives Matter, too. Black lives didn't matter until you Negroes in the U.S. You started waking up to us being killed, and then you got hijacked by these middle-class lesbians. Because Black lives didn't matter when people was being killed in the Congo. Y'all didn't come up with that then. You know, it's so many contradictions in Black Lives Matter that makes me they make me sick that I can't even like name them all. But those are two of them.
My whole life, my whole life. My whole life.
You already know what it is, man. I gotta tell you.
My whole life I've been getting by, barely surviving, man. I done seen everything, no nothing scared, surprise me. I stay prepared for the worst. I've been depressed since my mama died. They call it cancer, me I call it homicide. And now I'm traumatized, scarred for life. For all my niggas locked up behind bars for life. Fuck the stars and stripes, so niggas talk about his cars and ice. What are they giving us, the scars and stripes? I can't sleep, so I toss at night like a fish out of water. At 14, they had me pitching in quarters, running up the fiends, taking their orders like a way to do. When all I wanted was some shoes and a plate of food. I think back and feel sorry for that young nigga, a future doctor that they turned into a drug dealer. It seems like I never had a chance, like I was born to die, but now I wanna know why my whole life.
Real shit. Yeah, when we die,
Where does eternity take us? From the womb to the tomb, we twist and turn in the matrix. Living this existence in the system where we just equations, numbers, nothing more. Another slave on a slave ship, another horse on the farm, another nigga in jail for the million fucking time. Yeah, we living in hell. Satan is the people in power. The whole power structure, people that place people under the dollar. Scholars and college professors lecture, we succumb to the pressure. Fucked up in the game, hustle for paper, better yet for the basics. For food, clothes, and shelter, mad niggas doing state bids. Some doing fed time, while others lost their life. Some stuck in dead-end jobs, they whole fucking life. In debt, bad credit, living check to check. Stressed out, kinda like I see my mom my whole life.
Struggling, watching, suffering, out here hustling, since my whole life. I've been hoping, I've been wishing for something different, since my whole life. I've been struggling, watching, suffering, out here hustling, since my whole life. I've been hoping, I've been wishing for something different. Look,
what is a dollar worth? What if we all are cursed? In this Impala, yeah, we call it a hearse. We taking money to our grave, the slave master's dream. We crave after cream in Dave magazine. They tell us what we should fiend for, that we should be more. That's why we so crack to be like Jack on the beanstalk. Chasing the clouds, believing fairy tales, knowing very well that you under a spell or in a better nail. May we rest in hell with our Smith & Wesson. When it get that real, greet them with a blessing. I'ma squeeze that trigger like a Benjamin, aiming with malicious intent to put an end to them. Devil in the details, wholesale, retail, making unbelievable profit, then resell. Uncle Sam killers with capitalism, kung fu. So when it's my turn, my nigga, guess what I'm gonna do?
I've been struggling, watching, suffering, out here hustling, since my whole life. I've been hoping, I've been wishing for something different, since my whole life. I've been struggling, watching, suffering, out here hustling, since my whole life. I've been hoping, I've been wishing for something different, since my whole life.
Yeah, this a hustler's lament. Real talk, dollars and cents. You know, it's a vicious cycle, a spiral. Ending up doing what we didn't want to do. Yeah, selling each other our own poison. Real talk, becoming our own slave master. Yeah, kill the devil inside, then we don't have to hide. Feel me? Yeah, M.A.Uno. Yeah, Aya likes, rate 6. Back to the basics.
But one thing to be positive about all this, and I want Dr. Kunnie to say this before we get to the last question, which is to ask about his book, but I want you to just comment on what I'm about to say. Didn't our late great ancestor, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, say neo-colonialism is the last stage of imperialism? So we know it's going to look funky, and we know it's going to be woke, and we know we just got to go to sleep, but fight in our sleep around this motherfucker. Because we know it's funky, you know it's ugly, it's nasty, it's stanky, it's pervert, but it's the last. That's how we have an imperialism up against the wall. What do you say to that?
You know, it's like, you're right on. And it's so wonderful to be, you know, that's why I got all this energy when I'm with you on this Zoom, not to call. It's because the energy that you radiate is spiritual. You know, anything spiritual is decolonizing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, the whole thing about warriors. Do you know that all warriors are dancers?
Mm-hmm.
But Ashley, Geronimo,
mm-hmm.
Black Elk, Crazy Horse, Yar Santawa.
There you go.
You know, all warriors, Makoma, Bambata, Shaka,
Yes.
you know, they were all dancers and warriors because it's the earth. When you dance, remember my brother Bernard Woma, he's with the ancestors now. He was from the Ghanaian dance troupe. Brilliant, brother. Couldn't see, he was blind, but he was brilliant. He came here and we hosted him and so on. And he would always tell people, the Mother Earth, the Earth Mother never complains about how you dance, so long as you dance with her and on her, you know, and that is the warrior spirit. You know, we all, in the end, celebrate our people. With the little that we have, we celebrate our people. And it's always like, you know, when you go to when you go into our communities, like, I've been in some very depressed communities in Africa, in Latin America, and so on, Haiti, Cuba, the Philippines. I mean, very depressed, slums, so-called reserves, um, and so on, townships. But the spirit is vibrant. People laugh, they're making jokes, they're sharing food, and so on. It's so beautiful. That's our people. That's our culture. We must never, ever lose that for anything on this earth, even when death threatens us. Because the earth knows everything. I always tell people, when they ask about revolution and and the revolution will not be televised, right? And I also made this comment, I think I attended it was a Black Consciousness Forum honoring Steve Biko. I wanted to send you the link, but I didn't think that these things are really worth the time. It's a show. When they honor Black consciousness in Azania and they have people, it's all, it's all manipulated.
Yeah.
And I mean, and so sadly, many of those students, they're indigenous, across the Black spectrum. It doesn't matter. Lip service. No one's committed and willing to go along with Abishlali Basa and Jandola, for example, in the trenches. Our sisters and brothers living in those shacks that burn down in the winter because they need fires. They have no heat. In those shacks all over occupied Azania. I was in Gauteng, in the capital, Gold City, means city of gold, Igoli. There's shacks out there. I was running one time. You'll see shacks out the affluent neighborhood, 4 ways near whatever it was. I said, my goodness, and they call it informal settlements. It's heartbreaking. That's one reason why I don't like going to occupied Azania, frankly. It really gets to me. It gets to me. I mean, I have privileges. And this is what has really gotten to me over the years, privileges. Kim was just talking to me about one of her students and saying, it's a black girl. And she's saying, oh, my folks, my mom bought me this, my dad bought me this, and I have this in my house and this in my house. And she's telling the class this. And most of the class has virtually little or nothing, right? And so Kim had to call her gently aside and speak with her and say, look, you're privileged. You have so much more than these other students in the class. But just know where you are. Not everybody can have the same things. So, she made this black girl sensitive. But so it's just like, when you look at how people operate, there is a callousness, an insouciance, an insensitivity.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel. You have to be ruthless to be a capitalist.
Yep.
You have to be, unconscionable. Conscienceless. You have, it's like when you execute somebody. And I went to San Quentin. I think that was about 5-6 years ago, because I was, my biggest, along with our Africans being indigenous people being freed, is prisons. I always tell people the most revolutionary, the people that are the sincerest are behind bars from our African community. Many of them serving 40, 50, 75, 250 years. There's people in Florence here, Africans. One case, the father was serving 50 years. In fact, I've got to go back there now. And he was sentenced to 250 years. Not for murder. It was a non-capital crime. You think about that and you say slavery, Juneteenth, emancipation. celebrate Martin Luther King Day. And our people are languishing in this whole prison, like Malcolm said. This whole country is a prison. You know, unforgivable crimes. Every day, there's a picture of Mamiya in our living room. And I still shed tears for my brother because I've never had such a powerful experience. We went for, I think, 4 hours straight through while we went to visit him. My sister, Martha, a lawyer, they almost turned us down. I had flown all the way from Tucson to Pittsburgh and then, you know, to go to visit him there in Pennsylvania. And they said, oh, my name wasn't on the list. And Martha she said, this is a professor. He's come all the way. And that guy let me in without the background comprehensive checks. You know, Spirit was there with me. And Mamiya was there we went through 4 or 5 heavy, like 2, 3, 6-inch, 8-inch doors. Because he was on death row then. Came out, in behind a plexiglass window, chains, shackles, handcuffs. But what an interview. And his pictures here, he wrote to me. I used to send him money. I'm trying to send, they PayPal. You have to use certain things. And one big thing right now is California is pushing legislation. I think it's passed it so that all telephone calls by our brothers and sisters and brothers in prison are free. Otherwise, you have to call collect. It can be $1 a minute, 50 cents a minute for a local call. Imagine that. And this system, I mean, it's hell. It's hell on earth when you're in this prison. Now, I remember they were taking us, the brother was, really nice. They used to host me. Then they pulled, they said, oh, we didn't realize you didn't get full authorization to do this study and so on. They said, we can't do it anymore. But I went in there for a few years. And the first time they took us all over the facility. And it's a brother, real nice brother, who's, I guess he's the assistant warden or something, but, very nice. He accommodated me. And they took us to that area where they execute people. And I said, I think I'll stay outside. Because I can't imagine people celebrating somebody dying on a table being executed by lethal injection. But this is what this system celebrates.
It is as if, as if the whole setup, the settler colonial setup is legitimate in the first place. And
oh, yes.
They have a prison museum in Texas. So
yeah, we have a prison museum down here. And I do want to be fair about, I understand what you're saying, Julian, but I can't imagine some people like want on that table. I personally can't. I'm of the Dessalines spirit. There's some people I imagine on that table every day that I wish I could put on the table, But
enemies of the earth.
But they released Mumia now, didn't they?
No, Mumia is not released. Jalil, I want to say we actually wrote Jalil Muttaqim. He's actually out now.
Yes, he's out. He's out.
Yes,
the brother's out.
The brother's out.
Brilliant brother.
He's 72. I think he's been out 2 years. He got COVID. But yeah, he's out. He's doing interviews. Look him up online. You know what I'm saying, y'all?
Oh yes.
So
I've watched his programs.
Yeah, so he's out. And so we're gonna wrap up with the last question. And the last question is gonna be, Julian, please tell us more about the book you got coming out. And if I'm correct, the title is The Earth as Mother and the Collapse of Capitalism in the 21st Century. Kind of what we've been talking about, because this shit is collapsing.
Trapped in the system, tried to be righteous. Can't have my freedom, then I'll be a virus. Corrupted everything it touched like Midas. Even touched on the children and the minors. Manifest destiny, all my survivors. Men are too fancy, call your designers. Know where to turn in a world full of tyrants. So we watch it all burn and turn into violence. No empathy, no sympathy. Just a symphony on the world's smallest violins. On the mothership like the Moors and the Vikings. On the wall, I saw all of the writings. Moment of silence, let me see some lighters. Teddy Rock shot sacrificed by his driver. Canada to Caribbean, all I see is pirates. Colombian cartels, private jets and pilots. So pure he died, first time he tried it. And my 5 in a pole when I tried it. Right wing, IRS, Daesh or the ISIS. Smoke signals, or SOS on the wireless. Woke up in the morning searching for breakfast, and all I found was killers with no license. Ishmaelites and Israeli advisors in the Middle East where the fake fossil oil is. So-called Christians that don't read the Bible, awaiting the return of Osiris. Fireside the virgin that we know as ISIS. Media impregnates the minds of the mindless. Internationally there's a crisis. Slave trade in Sudan, the same price as the basmati rices. Weakness for kindness, secrets and slyness. No rule left for the meek or the shyness. My strength is my mind, on my arms, on my biceps. Before we crush like a wire press, try mind sex. Lubricate the mindset, take my 9-inch and I bust like a 9X. Like a mind split, my mind drift till I find bliss. Now I can't find it, find a psychiatrist. In my wildest I never dreamed it'd be like this. For frightened, dawn of the dead still alive but they're lifeless. Hypnotized by these iPhones while we worship our idols. Boy George, Elton John and George Michael. Tooth for a tooth, eye for an eyeball. Till we're all blind and the sky falls. Suicide by the sword of Archangel Michael. Speaking in tongues, Sunday Baptist revival. Plastic islands in the ocean, cause no one recycles. Children of the dam, can you hear my recital? Beware of the Mujahideen after nightfall. On the dean like the dean of your high school. Reading the dreams like a cyclops eyeball. Children of the dam, can you hear my recital?
All right, this is where we got to leave it for now, but not to fret. If you want to finish listening to the denouement of our series, is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux, a dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie, Part 3. In its entirety, where in addition to what you just heard, we discuss Dr. Julian Kunnie's new book, The Earth Mother and the Assault of Capitalism, Living Sustainably with All Life, scheduled for release April 23rd, 2025. The importance of reading to remember history, analyze the present, and to develop and implement biophilic solutions for people and ecosystems, and much, much more. All you have to do is sign up for our Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription. And here to provide you with further details about Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, we have our beloved managing editor, Zari Sundiata.
With a Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, you will have access to all of Conscientization 101's unabridged interviews, plus early access to Conscientization 101 podcast episodes, bonus content such as our musical commentaries, which are insightful and rousing articles we have written, set to music we produced, and much more. We know how hard it is to keep up with content you value in this ever-expanding media environment, but with the Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, you will be able to do just that. So try Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription for 7 days free with no commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Available exclusively on Apple Podcasts. For more details, see link in our show notes. And most importantly, you will be supporting 100% independent media.
All right, this episode has featured music from Raka of Dilated Peoples and Tumex, Right This Wrong, from the album Free Leonard Peltier, hip-hop's contribution to the Freedom Campaign. Conscientization 101, Decolonize This, Properly Defining Settlers, Part 1. Akala, Welcome to Dystopia, from his album Doublethink. Aya Likes, featuring M1 and Ray 6, Whole Life, from their album Us Against Them. Raggle Zulu Rebel, Tears of Gaia, from his album Arthur Fleck. Links to featured music are available in our show notes. Remember that, y'all. Everything is in the show notes, so if you hear something, you don't hear it mentioned, but it's in our show notes. Always go there. Now, I wanted to mention about the Leonard Peltier album. It came out in 2010, like we said. We couldn't find it anywhere online, so if you guys want that album, we'd be happy to share it with you. Just shoot us an email or fill out the contact form, and we'd be happy to make it available to you. Now, don't forget, when you visit us at conscientization101.com or c101magazine.com, check out all the content we have to offer. Our 411 category, which consists of articles, announcements, and other forms of information that are relevant for the fortification of your praxis. Our videos category, which features videos that were meticulously chosen to solidify the process of conscientization. And last, but most definitely not least, check out our library category. Our library category includes books we have read, recommend, and have provided a write-up. These books bring many of the ideas and concepts put forth in our podcasts, articles, and videos into proper context. And while you're at conscientization101.com or c101magazine.com, sign up to our mailing list to stay up to date with all our latest content. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook at Conscientization101 and Instagram at C101 Editors. You can also hit us up on email at editors@c101magazine.com. That is EDITORS at C101magazine.com. So that's our show. We want to thank Dr. Julian Kunnie for taking time out of his schedule to dialogue with us. And I just want to say we got a lot of things planned for the future, things that we have literally been working on for about 10 years now. We got the graphic was made damn near a decade ago. We got stuff ready and planned, but you know how stuff goes, man. You want to make it perfect. You don't do nothing half-ass. You know, we ain't trying to go viral. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to cure viruses and shit. Well, I don't know why people want to go viral. That's just don't sound right. A lot of stuff don't sound right to me now. I don't know. I mean, it's just era I'm from. I mean, people want to go viral. When I was coming up, people was trying to cure viruses and shit. You know? Now y'all want viruses. I want to go viral. It's like a euphemism for something else. You know, that's not too pleasant. All right. So, like I said, I get off script, but just stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. You know, sign up for that premium podcast subscription. And, you know, because like we said, it was 10 years and we got stuff going on, because let me tell you something. For Conscientization 101, the beat goes on. Just like our dear beloved elder, Leonard Peltier, his beat goes on as well. Peace. We out. Bye-bye.
you, just to let you know you were down, warrior. United States government is doing you wrong, but the movement has proved this to the U.S. all along. The hidden documents that can free you from your cell. I pray someday you walk out of your living hell. They took most of your life, dirty long knives. To you I fly this kite to let you know I feel the strife. Clinton cheats on his wife, he had no alibi. Promised you a pardon, but they were all white lies. But he gave one to his brother-in-law, that crooked bastard. A new millennium and we still slaves to the masters. Pale tear to 30 years, denied parole. Denied a fair trial, that's just the way it goes. But the beat goes on from our ancestral drums. War painting AKs, devils, here we come. We'll never bow down, Mr. Bush will call you majesty. Pale tears, a political prisoner, we demand amnesty and immunity from all our native communities. Together we stand, divided we fall, we need unity. The struggle continues, never forget Wounded Knee. In 1890, Ogallala, 1973, 2 of yours were killed compared to our millions. Your own damn people blown up government buildings. People live in glass houses, shouldn't throw stones. Pale tear, my brother, man, you are not alone. Doing time for a crime that you didn't commit. The government is guilty of more than that. Murder, 1, theft, false imprisonment, and rape. Trespassing, strong arm robbery, and hate. Kidnapping, slavery, and other hate crimes. You think I hate your people just because you hate mine? My people like to play. There's a native on my flag, had my medicine bag, riding shotgun with Leonard and my warrior syndicate. Going to pick up his check for the wrongful imprisonment. It's a damn shame, isn't it? The justice is filthy. Where's the burden of proof, innocent until proven guilty? Where is all the evidence? Release the hidden documents. You sick on this land, we're the only true occupants. Placed in concentration, now known as reservations. We can't beat them with violence, we'll beat them with education. Take a nation of millions to hold me back, y'all. Together we're unstoppable, divided we fall. So that brings to my attention what makes me feel ill. Let's talk about a church on top of a hill. Spill the lies when you try to expose the real movement. It's a mental war and it leaves room for improvement. The shoe fits you sellouts, you can get the hell out. Free pale tear is what I'm gonna yell out. Why do our people sway for the white man ways? Where's your heart, my brothers? Remember the good old days when we were all about the chains, ancestors flipping in graves. I'm a native pioneer, so a path I will pave. Spend 30 years of misery for my man LP. Why must he suffer when he's really not guilty? To all my warriors and pale tears lawyers, I pray to the creator, send my prayers out there for you. And shout goes out to the magnificent 7. And to all my warriors that are sitting up in heaven. To the innocent lives that were taken at Wounded Knee. Running with the buffalo, now you run free. To the murderers they killed, hope you're burning in hell. Pale tear, the spirits are with you every day up in your cell. One hand pipe in another, smudge it all down, about to smoke for my brother. I know you feel helpless, your prayers seem hopeless, losing your focus. I'm praying when I smoke this. My sympathies go out to them too much families. The government should have been there, senseless fatalities. An innocent man has been rotting away, but the U.S. don't care, one of us has to pay. Just like the Pine Ridge Reservation still has to suffer, making my people pay cause of that murderer Custer. Like Floyd Westman said, he died for your sins. It was a battle the way it is, made the best man win. Think about Manifest Destiny, who gave you the ride. Abolish Indian people, hell yeah, we had to fight. Taking us and placing us in your prison camps. Have the nerve to say we're hostile and wipe us off the maps. Enslaving the blacks, took them from their motherland. And messing with the Mexican, that was their other plan. But understand, Mexico, they were all indigenous. And since the beginning of time, man, it's been continuous. I'm a Native American, American for which it stands. For what it stood for, I wonder if Custodia's pants. Remember the ghost dance, it was murder in the verse. We never killed women and children sitting up in church. We were having ceremonies, practicing our religion. Killing the innocent off, is it a government tradition? Border submissions, inhumane living conditions. I seen a vision, Leonard walking out of prison.